Morning everybody, welcome back then to the channel. Now we're back racing today at lovely Lydden Hill. I've kept myself sharp on track, doing track days in the S2000 and in the GR Yaris. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to the day. Got some family coming down, gonna have some good fun and just enjoy myself really, that's the plan. So this is Talladega, this is the new corner. Now Chestnut Drift has always been notoriously really tight, but what they've actually done, they've removed the barrier over here and opened it right up. So this is now a really banked corner. It's a bit like Daytona, except for in every other conceivable way.
I think the optimum is going to be
through the middle
around here and take a real late, the C would be a real late apex.
Yeah.
But you're going to hug the inside if you want to try and keep track position. There's quite a ridge all the way around here. So
you can see it sort of drops off, doesn't it? That's my main competitor for the day over there. Oh, John Deere. So one interesting thing about this weekend, no joker laps actually, which will make things exciting in some ways because there's no strategy involved. It's literally just wheel-to-wheel combat.
Yeah, proper real racing.
Nice.
Back to the good old days.
Rostrum or hospital, is that the plan?
Yeah, well, win it or straw bales.
Win it or bin it.
Trophy or trees, Tom.
Yeah.
Trophy or trees. Oh shit, transponder. I need my transponder. Get on that. So this is my new for 2022 helmet. This has been designed by Sander Lamb. Sander works with a load of MotoGP riders, etc. I've worked with him for years. He's done every single one of my helmets for about 4 years now. And I just wanted something that looked a bit different, you know, because a lot of helmets have the same design cues and this, I think, sticks out like a left bollock. So yeah, I think it's really nice actually. Very happy with that. Sander's done a top job.
Hello, mate.
Hello, geezer. How are we doing?
All right, how are you?
Oh, all the better for seeing you. Just have to see how it goes, really. Go out there, do some laps. We'll have to see. Boom. That was a terrible fist bump.
It was actually.
That was dreadful. Get that again. Boom. Hello everybody, so here we are then on the dummy grid, ready to go out for free practice. Now, how it's formatted in the BTRDA Clubmans Rallycross Championship is you get about 3 or 4 laps or so, then the checkered flag comes out, you come into the pit lane and you have to join the back of the queue. So with that being said, I kind of knew that we'd only have 1, possibly 2 sessions to get used to things out on track, and when I say getting used to things, that includes the new Cooper RS3 tyres that I've never driven on before. It includes, of course, getting used to the car again after 18 months out of the seat, and also getting used to the newly reprofiled Lydden Hill circuit, namely that first corner Talladega. But I didn't want to overdo it. I wanted to take it quite easy, quite steady in this session. There's no point sending the car into the barrier and doing some damage before we're under racing conditions. I did start to pick up the pace though a little bit more towards the end of the session, and into this first corner of Talladega that we're going through now, try a variety of different lines just to see what would work under racing conditions effectively. So it was a good opportunity to get used to things, get a feel for how it would be out there at Lydden Hill once again. Then we came back into the pit lane after the conclusion of our one and only free practice session to debrief with Dad ahead of Heat 1. In terms of Talladega, wasn't too bad. First lap out, I tried it in third and it bogged down midway through. Then I went into second for the next lap round, significantly better. Pace seems all right. You know, it's only 4 laps of practice, so it's difficult to tell at this point.
That's a good looking car, isn't it? Be a shame if someone crashed it.
Start from the back of the grid for this one, and not really sure what to expect, to be honest with you. I need to make a good start. If I can get a good start, get along the outside into turn 1, I think we'll be happy days, but it's just a bit of an unknown, really.
Trophy or trees, eh, Neil? Trophy
Absolutely.
or trees.
Proper racing, no joker lap.
Fucking hell, it's all he's going on about is that joker lap.
It is proper racing.
Morning.
So here we are then, ready to go for my first race in 18 months. We're lining up though on the back of the 3rd row of the grid in 7th place, so not ideal at all. Just enough time to get a bit of heat into the tyres before we get ready to go racing and line up on the grid for the first 4-lap heat. Anyway, eyes on the lights then, green light and go, and unfortunately not a great start at all as we head down towards the first corner. Everybody else in front getting away pretty evenly. It did give me the opportunity though to keep a watching brief on what was happening in front as they made their way into Talladega for the first time. A few mistakes creeping in there, to be expected though really, but we got a really strong exit coming out of this corner and heading in towards the Devil's Elbow. I thought we could close up on the brakes, but keep an eye out for the Citroen C2 on the right hand side. Gets a tank slapper under the brakes, and goes off into the gravel, and he actually ended up rolling the car. I didn't see that, of course, because I was very much focusing on what was ahead of me. So as far as I was aware, we're still continuing at racing speed up to the next series of corners. However, coming out of the hairpin, the red flag was thrown, the race was suspended, and we had to sit there for a good 10 minutes or so before we could line up on the grid. It did, though, give me an opportunity to clean the windscreen, which was quite needed because there's a lot of stones and a lot of dust on the new surface. Thankfully, the driver was okay. He was able to get back out later on in the day. The car was not too badly damaged. Anyway, ready to go then for the second running of heat number 1. Lined up on the grid we are. Wait for the green light to come on. And unfortunately, again, not a good start. I really do struggle to get this Citroen C2 off the line. Down towards the first corner, everybody took it a little bit more sensibly on the second run. They all bunched up, though, mid-corner. And whilst I was sat there minding my own business, I got a really strong exit coming out of the gravel. Nice drive, nice traction, and we were able to go around the outside of Charlie Titcomb there and up into 5th position. A slight dab of opposite lock as we came back onto the track, a little bit wide, of course, going through there. And as such, it just cost us a little bit of time, but we got a really good run through the Devil's Elbow. And I wondered, could I make my way up into 4th so soon? I had a half look, but the door was very firmly closed, and rightly so there, to be honest. It would have been a bit of a Dan Dare move quite early in the race. But keep an eye out stage left. Look at Charlie Titcomb. A lot of confidence in that Citroen Saxo, sending it around the outside into the bottom of the course and making his way through up into 5th place once again. Now the thing is, I kind of lost my rhythm here at this point, and that wasn't aided by a misshift on the gravel. I ended up going into 5th gear as opposed to 3rd and lost about 4 or 5 car lengths on the rest of the field. And once you've lost that rhythm, once you've lost that momentum that you've gained, it's really hard to get it back up. It was aided by a retirement, as you can see on the left hand side, elevating us up into 5th place once again. But to be honest, I wasn't very happy with how I was performing out there on track. I knew that I performed better than this in practice, that I was a lot more comfortable with the car, but as such, unfortunately, it never came to fruition. Once you get yourself out of that rhythm, it's really easy to start overdriving, and that's exactly what I was doing in that first race. You can see us running a bit wide through the Devil's Elbow there and costing us more time than we gained. Anyway, in towards the first corner, you can see them going 2 by 2 for 3rd place in front. I wondered if there might be an opportunity to pick up the scraps from this battle, but alas, they kept it relatively clean, and despite good drive coming out of Talladega and down the Dover slope into the Devil's Elbow, an opportunity didn't seem to be opening up for me at this point. Good drive though, out of the Devil's Elbow, up the top of the hill and on the brakes. I felt that was one of my real strong points actually in that first race, was on the brakes into that hairpin, and I wondered if I might be able to use that to my advantage in Heat 2 if we were able to get a better start. Anyway, down into the bottom bend we go, into paddock, across the line. It's 5th place in Heat 1. Not a bad way to start the day, but to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed after that.
Oh, bugger, 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 bugger. That's really annoying. We had good pace. So frustrating. The Saxos and the 106s, they're so much lighter. They're a couple of 100 kilos on this, and there's nothing more we can do, and I just was losing time in that respect. So, yeah, I don't know, I'm just frustrated because I feel like I could have done more.
Well, you'd be thrilled to know I've got the move that someone pulled on you around the outside.
Lovely. Makes me feel much better. You all right, gorgeous? So lovely to see you. Hello, how are we doing?
For the crew. Having a bit of a coronary.
Yeah?
Well, I've got my niece who's in the car, and I think she's going to take over driving duties from me. Would you like to drive?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. I don't think you can reach the pedals, but we can gloss over that.
Do you think you can do better than Uncle Tom?
Yeah.
Thanks! What, because I'm slow? What are you like? I'm a bit slow, apparently. She's not wrong, though, to be fair. She has a point. I need to speed up.
Please like and subscribe.
Get in.
See old Victor Meldrew there banged his head?
Yes.
Did you get that?
Yep, think so.
Lovely.
Heat 2 then, so outside of the front row of the grid, I knew this was a golden opportunity to try and run in the pack in this race, if only I could get the little C2 away from the lights. Some heat into the tyres would help my cause, but would I be able to convert it into a strong result? Lined up on the grid we are then, waiting for the green light to come on. Heat 2 then for the BTRDA Clubmans Rallycross Championship is underway, and again a terrible start, loads of wheel spin, and already in the space of a couple of 100 metres we're down into 4th place before we get into Talladega, and then down into 5th place as another car goes up the inside of us. Fortunately, in front they decided to get their elbows out and came together, and I got such good drive coming out of this corner that I fancied my chances on one of them. As we go on to the tarmac once again, an opportunity presented itself on the inside into the Devil's Elbow, and we're through into 4th place. And I got such good drive through this corner that another opportunity in front was presenting itself on the Alfa Romeo as well. So we go on the inside then on the run up to the hill, and into the hairpin bend we're later on the brakes and through into 3rd place. So quite a neat couple of corners there after a difficult start. I seem to make it quite difficult for myself, unfortunately, in this race, but doing a good recovery, and I knew it was now time to get my head down and just run as smoothly as I could on lap number 2. I was going so much later on the brakes, I noticed, than the cars in front, and those in front were making a few mistakes, and you can see there, this is Carl Jarvis going a little bit wide, really poor drive out of there, but defending his line quite nicely as we come onto the tarmac once more. Had a half look up the inside into the Devil's Elbow. I'd made that stick last time around, but there was no opportunity presenting itself through there. But this time, crucially, what I was doing in Heat 2 compared to Heat 1 was not overdriving the car. I was keeping it really smooth, driving within my limits and just beyond. And as such, I was able to close up and not lose too much time. Down to the bottom bend, and we're again really close on the cars in front, and I knew going through on to the next lap that we might have an opportunity, but Carl defended that line really nicely into there. We had to go the long way around the outside, and again an opportunity didn't present itself at the moment. Bit of contact in there as he slowed up right the way through the mid corner, and we had to get out of the throttle, back onto the power though as we come up the run to the top of Hairy Hill. We're bouncing off the rev limiter, really good drive coming out of that corner, and we had a cheeky look up the inside. Late on the brakes we go through into 2nd place. Again, a nice decisive move there as we make our way through into the place that we started this race in. Cheeky look in the mirror as we come ready through to start the final lap. We're sitting in 2nd place, and I thought, well, this will be a really strong result, my best one ever. We're sending it though over the curbs, and going into Talladega you can see the driver in front slowing up quite a lot. We had a lot more speed through there. Whether they made a mistake or had a mechanical issue, I'm not sure, but we got around the outside and amazingly went through into the lead of the race on the final lap. I can't tell you how happy I was and how much in disbelief I was as well. So we had just a few more corners, half a lap separating us from our first ever win in the BTRDA Clubmans Rallycross Championship. Into the hairpin, I knew that I just needed to keep it smooth, not keep too much of a watch on my mirrors and the drivers behind, because that's when the mistakes would start to creep in. Down into the bottom of the course we go, into Paddock Bend, a nice tight line through there as we get ready to come across the line to take my first ever win in the BTRDA Clubmans Rallycross Championship.
Come on! Yes,
That's how we do it.
See? Real racing.
Oh. It's my first win. My first ever win. I'm absolutely buzzing, to be honest with you. To be able to celebrate that with everybody is just amazing. I've always wanted to do rallycross. You know, I grew up watching my dad driving his Ford Escort and, you know, around here and winning races and stuff, and I thought I want to be able to do that. So to be able to do that, to share that experience with my dad and my family and my friends is, yeah, amazing. Can't ask for more, really. So yeah, really good second heat. Let's just hope we can keep building on that for heat 3, and then obviously whichever final we qualify for. Hey, what's that?
It's you racing.
Oh yeah,
That's your point there.
it is. That's me.
Yeah.
Fred.
Who's the best rally driver in the world?
I've got a new fan. Look at that.
Right, race 3 then. So we're starting from the back of the grid, middle of the back row for this one. I guess name of the game is kind of what we did in the second heat. Just have to try our luck.
Fourth on the grid then for heat 3, second row. Little bit of creeping as the green lights come on, but we're away, and again it's another poor start. Lots of wheel spin, death taxis, and failing to get away from the lights very well. But crucially here, we don't lose any positions as we head in towards Talladega for the first time. Up in front, they're going really close to one another, and again I saw this as an opportunity here really to capitalise. We get an okay-ish run out of Talladega and onto the tarmac, but it's on the brakes into the Devil's Elbow that I knew I was going to be strong as they went side by side for second place. Little bit of oversteer on the way in there as we just overcooked it on the brakes, but managed to get a good run up the top of the hill, and then we're on the back of Carl Jarvis's car. The door was slightly ajar here, but I was a bit cheeky. I sent it up the inside with a half-arsed move. Never really was going to pay off as I was squeezed onto the curb. It was rightfully his corner. It was a little bit scrappy, that one, but we backed out of it. We didn't cause him too much harm as the lead changes hands in front. Then somebody makes a mistake. They run a little bit wide into the bottom bend. I can see that as an opportunity because they're going to be struggling with drive. I thought about going 2x2 over the curb, but that's a one-way ticket to the hospital, and an opportunity presents itself at the very next corner into Talladega. Later on the brakes, shove it down into second, and we're through into third place. So we're making good forward progress here. We're right on the back of Carl Jarvis as we come out of the gravel section, down the Dover slope and in towards the Devil's Elbow. He goes for a really defensive line there, and that means we can set it up quite nicely. We go for a wider line in to try and compromise his exit out of the corner and try and maximise our exit. We get great drive out of that turn. Again, he's going for a defensive line. You can see me there trying for the wipers, and to be honest, I was a little bit too distracted by that at this point. I was so busy faffing around with all the switches inside the cockpit that I was not focusing on what was happening in front of me. So in towards the bottom bend of paddock we go. Later on in the race you can see that we're still right up his chuff, but again no opportunity to find our way through on the penultimate lap. So I knew that I was going to try and have to force him into a mistake and just keep myself clean because an opportunity would present itself. He defended that line in towards Talladega a couple of times. I went for the outside line though on the final lap, and I was amazed that it stuck through there. Little bit of contact as we shut the door, but we managed to make it through and into second place on the last lap. It was one of my best overtakes of the weekend, that, to be honest with you. I was able to carry a lot more speed through that corner, and I was really impressed and happy that it was a move that paid off as we elevated ourselves up into second place. Sadly, we were never really going to have an opportunity to catch up with the race leader before the checkered flag came out. But second in Heat 3 after a win in Heat 2, I was really happy with that, and it put us in a great place to make it into the A final. Anyway, no time for celebrations in that one. First order of the day was to get the windscreen clear because I couldn't see a damn thing. Thankfully, the team were as pleased as I was after that second place finish in Heat 3 as we made our way back into the paddock with just the final left to run.
Bit aggressive in that one, possibly a bit too aggressive. Yeah, just got a little bit kind of caught in the pack and made a half-arse move into the hairpin. Was never really going to pay off because he was already making a move on something, so I wasn't really worrying about it too much. Ended up on the grass a little bit, which cost me a bit of time. Car's a bit of battle scar. We've lost one of the eye things, which is a bit of a shame. But, you know, yeah. Oh, hello. Stats nearly stacked it. I hope you got that. But I just chatted with the driver, I think Carl his name is, and yeah, he said it's good racing, it's close racing, and that's what we like, you know. In Formula 1, that would have been a time penalty all day long, so I'm happy with that. I want to see the times, because that was a scrappy race, and I feel like I wasn't that quick. So, I don't know. I mean, it could have gone all right, but it might have been terrible, so who knows? What do you think?
I think you did good.
Thanks.
It's actually just a bit of your car.
I did lose a bit of my car. It's a bit battle scarred now, but that's rallycross, baby. So P5 overall in the standings after the 3 heats, not too bad. Pretty happy with that, because the thing is I know I've got the pace once we're underway. I'm confident on the brakes, the car's driving really well. I'm happy with my performance. I just need to get away from the lights, okay? So if I can hook the start up and not wheel spin too much, happy days. Anyway, now to the final.
Let's do this. So then, the final, we're lining up 5th out of 9 drivers on the grid, and it's our longest duration race with 6 laps as well, so the most amount to go wrong, really. We line up on the 2nd row then, and what we really need from this final is, unlike the rest of the day, a really good start. But, unfortunately, textbook as ever, we get an absolute shocker. We're down to 8th place before we've even reached the first corner, so not good at all there. And I kind of decided that what I needed to do was keep my nose clean in these opening couple of corners, whilst the rest of the field battled it out in front. We got a great run through the second half of Talladega, closed right up onto the back of Carl Jarvis here, and down the Dover slope there was a gap starting to appear on the inside, so I thought, sod it, let's send it. Down the inside we go, he has to back out of that corner. We run alongside him and slightly lean on him there as it's all kicking off just up the road as well. So he and I are side by side up the top of the hill. He's got the inside line, I brake later on the outside going through this corner and hold it firm around the outside as well. I wasn't going to back out, I was not going to give him a quarter as well, and I fancied the 206 going into here as well, maybe 2 into 1. However, he braked later and Carl had the inside line, so I had to slot back into 8th place. Meanwhile, in front, the yellow driver in the Citroen Saxo made a bit of a mistake. He got himself offline and left himself open to attack. So we went round the outside of Carl Jarvis, once again into Talladega. We did that in Heat 3, and we fancy repeating that again in the final here. And then I fancy to go on Pollard here in the yellow machine. So through the second part of Talladega, we go really sideways on the exit of the corner, but the gap's there on the inside. He brakes a little bit too late, runs out of road, off onto the gravel, and we're through into 6th place then. So our next target is this 206 up the top of the hill. We're picking them off like flies as we go around the outside into the hairpin. We try to hold firm around there, and we do. So we're on the exit of the corner. We get great drive going out of there, and it's 5th position as we come down the bottom of the hill. But look at this, he brakes really late. We get a little bit of a nudge going through that corner, but nothing too much to worry about. So it's 5th place for now then. And then you can see there's quite a gap up to the rest of the field. Our next target is the Alfa Romeo 147 in front, and I didn't really know if we were going to get an opportunity to try and attack him before the end of the race, so I wondered whether 5th would be our best position that we could achieve, or whether we might be able to challenge for 4th before the end of this race. But the thing is now, whilst we're in this sort of mid-stages, we needed to just get our head down and try and do everything we could to close up onto the back for 4th place. And you can see visibly there how much later I'm braking into Talladega. Loads of confidence in the Cooper tyres, lots of confidence in the car as well. And crucially in this one, unlike what we had in Heat 3, no mistakes either, no missed shifts, just keeping everything nice and tidy, nice and smooth, and driving the car as fast as I knew how. So then, up the top of the hill, late on the brakes into the hairpin, we've visibly closed up onto the back of the driver in 4th, but not quite close enough to mount an attack at the moment. So we're coming into the closing stages though, and he made a little bit of a mistake going through into paddock there, and you can see that we've closed up quite significantly for 4th place as we come through into Talladega for the penultimate time. So we're getting closer to this 147, not quite close enough to mount a challenge, but in front of us it's all kicking off as well in the battle for the race lead. Keep an eye on the driver in 3rd place as well, because he comes into play in a few moments. So we're right on the back now of this 147 as we come up the top of the hill. Not quite close enough to mount an attack, but certainly it's on my radar. I know that if an opportunity is there, I'm going to go for it. Of course I am. It's the last race of the day. I've driven, I think, the best I've ever done in a rallycross car, and my confidence was sky high at this point. And I noticed that he was running really defensive lines quite early on. He left himself really open to attack here, because a tight line into there compromised his run through the chicane. It left him slow on the exit, and I saw an opportunity. I wasn't going to faff around with this one. Straight around the outside we go at the start of the final lap. And amazingly, like we did earlier on in the race and in Heat 3, we managed to make that move stick. We're up into 4th place. I know now that it's the final lap, and I didn't think there would be anything that I could do in the battle for the podium, but as I said, keep an eye on the driver in 3rd place. Mainwaring slowed down coming up the top of the hill. Not quite sure what happened to him, but amazingly, it gifted me 3rd place on the final lap. I couldn't believe it. And all we had to do, like we did in Heat 2, is just keep our nose clean for the final half a lap in this race, and we would come through to take our first ever podium finish in the final for the BTRDA Clubmans Rallycross Championship. I was absolutely over the moon.
Yeah! P3, baby! Yeah! Come on!
Oh, that was amazing. The car was faultless, absolutely faultless. We didn't quite have the pace of these two little 106s up the front, but we did well. Oh, I'm mega happy with that. There we go.
He came third. He came first, second, and now third.
Go on, son. How do you feel? A little sick.
That'll do. That'll do. I'm sweaty. Oh, bloody hell. That was good. That was good. Fuck me. I made it hard for myself again with an absolutely crap start. I think I was down to last before I was at the first corner, but yeah, I mean, made some good overtakes, made some ground, got the positions when it counted. Nice little move on the outside at Talladega as well. Bastard, can't ask for more than that, can you?
Yeah, he's driven impeccably all day, Tom. So you can't fault him really. He's pulled off some great overtaking manoeuvres. So happy days all round. Got himself a podium and well deserved.
Well, look, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy this, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, YouTube-yo. And we'll see you again for the next video. And also, of course, some news on Project S2000 in the near future. Take care. See you soon.